Have you ever thought about painting your kitchen cabinets and wondered what are the costs involved? How much does it cost to paint your cabinets yourself? Or how much does it cost to hire a professional to paint your cabinets? Well, in this video, I'm going to break down the costs of both options so that you can look at them and compare them. And I'm also going to break down some of the pros and cons of each option so that you can decide exactly what's right for you. So let's dive in. First, let's talk about the cost involved to paint your kitchen cabinets yourself. And just to give you that number right out front, about the cheapest you can paint your cabinets for, in my opinion, is about $250. Now, this can easily go up to $750 depending on a few factors. So most people can budget painting their cabinets for about $250 to $750. Now let's break that down. The first thing you got to invest in is a quality primer. And most good primers are going to cost you anywhere from about $45 to $85. And most kitchens are going to use about 1 gallon of primer to prime both the fronts of the doors, the backs of the doors, drawers, and to prime all the boxes in your kitchen. If you have an exceptionally large kitchen, you may need 2 gallons of primer. Some primers that I usually recommend here at DIY Painting are Zinsser Smart Prime. It's a cheaper primer on that $45 to $50 a gallon range. It blocks well and it bonds well, and it's just a good all-around primer with low VOCs. I also like using Sherwin-Williams Extreme Bond Primer and their Extreme Block Primer, depending on if I'm looking for a better bond or if I'm looking to block tannins that would come through oak wood. Next, you're going to need to invest in your top coat. And top coats are going to be a little bit more expensive. They're going to run you from about $70 a gallon all the way up to $130 a gallon. And your average kitchen is going to use somewhere in between 1 to 2 gallons of top coat. Some top coats that I typically recommend for DIYers would be Benjamin Moore Advanced. It's a great primer for brushing, rolling, or spraying, and it lays down really nice and it has a beautiful finish when it's dry. Benjamin Moore Advanced is going to cost you about $75 a gallon, and like I said, most kitchens are going to need 1 to 2 gallons of that. Another top coat I like to use is Sherwin-Williams Emerald. It is another primer that sprays, brushes, and rolls really well. It levels nice and it dries a little bit faster than Advanced, but if I had to pick one for the best look when they're done, I think Advanced looks a little bit better. But Emerald is a great product and I use it quite often. And Emerald is going to cost you in that $90 to $100 a gallon range. So those are kind of the two best options in my opinion for the DIYer. So for your primer and top coat, most people for their kitchen are going to spend anywhere from about $150 up to $250 depending on how much you need and which products you decide to go with. Next, you're going to need some basic tools for painting your kitchen cabinets, and that's going to be things like a brush, a mini roller tray, sanding blocks, tape, plastic paper, things like that. And to get all of those together, you're looking at least usually about $50, upwards of $100. So if you plan on brushing and rolling your cabinets and you don't have a huge kitchen, you can get most of the supplies you need for about $50 to $100 and your paint in that $150, $200 range. And there you're looking, to get your cabinets painted yourself, maybe $200 to $300. So now that you've got your paint, your primer, and your essential tools, there's a few optional things that you may want to consider. First would be investing in a sprayer. If you want cabinets that are going to look absolutely perfect, get that nice glassy finish and look really professional, you're going to want to invest in a sprayer. And in my opinion, the best starter sprayer for the DIY painter is the Wagner Flexio 5000. You can get the 5000 for about $229, and it's a great sprayer for painting kitchen cabinets. I've used it on many projects. If you go look at a lot of the projects on DIY painting, I use that sprayer so that I can show that anyone can go in with a sprayer that doesn't cost a lot of money and get an absolutely great looking finish. So the Wagner Flexio 5000 is going to cost about $228. The only reason that I see to go up from there and invest in a better sprayer would be if you're a contractor and you're doing more than a couple projects a year. If you're doing 10, 20, 30 sets of kitchen cabinets a year, yes, then absolutely invest in a more expensive sprayer, something in that few $1,000 range that you know is going to last you through that many projects. Another thing that you may want to consider is a drying rack. Now, if you've got a big kitchen and you're pulling off all your doors and drawers and stuff, you're gonna need somewhere to put them while they're all drying. If you have a few folding tables around and an open garage space, that can absolutely work. A big kitchen might need 4, 5, even 6 folding tables though. So most people don't have that much space or that many tables around. So a drying rack might come into play. You can find a video here on DIY painting supply, which I'll put a link to in the description below, where I show you how I built my first drying rack, and I built it for about $75 and it worked absolutely great. Also in the more recent videos, you can see I have a nice paint line drying rack now, and that cost about $500. So, you know, your average DIY project doesn't need to invest in a $500 drying rack, but building a $75 drying rack for a big project like painting cabinets might be a great investment. So to recap everything, you need your paint, your primer, your essential tools, and maybe a sprayer and a drying rack. And by the time you get all that together, you can easily be in that $500, even $600, $700 range. So like I said in the beginning, DIY painting your cabinets yourself is going to cost you about $250 on the low end, upwards of about $750 on the high end. Now let's take a look at the costs involved in hiring a professional to paint your kitchen cabinets. The average kitchen hired out to a professional is going to cost around $5,000 to $6,000. There's a lot of factors that go into this though. One, how big is your kitchen? That's obviously the biggest factor. Some of the smaller kitchens I do are in that $3,000 to $4,000 range. Obviously, there's very large kitchens as well, and those kitchens can easily be in that $7,000 to $10,000 range. So that's why the average kitchen is going to be in that $5,000 to $6,000 range. Also, another factor that affects the price of your cabinets is the type of wood or the condition of the cabinet. If you have oak cabinets and they're going to require a grain filler, those are going to cost a little bit more because that's an extra step involved in painting your cabinets. If they're previously painted and they just need to be repainted, that's going to cost a little bit less because that's a little bit easier of a project. Some other things that can affect the price of hiring a professional would be things like location, accessibility, even time of the year. So if you want to find the best deals, usually November, December, even January, you're going to find the best deals when working with a contractor, where the highest points of the year are going to probably be in that April, May, June, July, even August, when painters tend to be a little bit busier. So if you're looking to hire a professional to paint your kitchen cabinets, you're typically going to be looking at that $5,000 to $6,000 range. You have a smaller kitchen, a little bit less, larger kitchen, a little bit more. Now let's take a quick look at the pros and cons of DIYing your kitchen versus hiring a professional. The first pro of doing it yourself is real easy. It's simply cost savings. You'd be looking at maybe $500 to paint your kitchen cabinets yourself versus $5,000 to hire someone else to come in and paint them. But the downside of that is if you're going to do it yourself, painting kitchen cabinets is a very time-intensive project. The average kitchen on the low end might take you 40 hours, where on the high end, 80 to 100 hours could be very reasonable to get your cabinets painted. But while cost savings is a pro and time involved is a con, another big pro that I see is that sense of accomplishment and control of a project. When you do something like this yourself, it feels good and you can take a sense of pride in the project when it's done, knowing you did it. And it's also nice to be in control of a project. You can say, I'm going to work on it this weekend. I'm going to work on it that weekend. I love paying attention to detail. I'm a very detail-oriented person. I don't have to hope that my contractor is, and I know if I do it, it will be done right. But there's also pros and some cons to hiring out a contractor as well. The first pro is the time savings. Obviously, if you're hiring a contractor, they're going to come in and get it done probably while you're at work. So it's not going to be any time for you, but it will be a little bit inconvenient as you lose your kitchen, but that's going to happen whether you DIY it yourself or hire it out. The second pro is that the contractor is going to get it done a lot faster typically as well. They might have a 2, even 3-person team. They have all of the right tools to speed up the project, and they have the experience to do a project like this quick and efficiently. The next biggest pro of hiring a professional is going to be just knowing that the cabinets are going to look fantastic when you're done. As many pros as there are with hiring a contractor, there are definitely downsides as well. First being the cost. We already covered that. They're very expensive. You're not just paying for the materials and everything, you're paying for their time and their expertise as well. So a contractor, like I said, is going to be in that $5,000 to $6,000 range, maybe even significantly more. So it's not uncommon to get bids for $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, even $10,000 to paint kitchen cabinets. Another con would be that you're relying on someone else to get your cabinets done. So you need to trust them that they have the skill and the ability and they care enough to get that job done and get it done right. Now that we've gone over the costs of DIYing your cabinets and hiring out a professional to paint your cabinets, hopefully you have all the information you need to make the right choice for you. But I want to make that choice a little bit easier for you. And I want you to check out the link in the video right here, right now, or you can click on the link in the description. And this will take you to my kitchen cabinet project planner. And yes, I need a better name for it, but for now it's called the Kitchen Cabinet Project Planner. And this planner will guide you through every step of the cabinet painting process. It's something that you can print out and follow along as you're going through your own project. It'll tell you the exact steps you need to do, and it gives you a shopping list and a tool checklist and everything. It just makes the process a bit easier. Next, I wanted to tell you about the Cabinet Makeover Kit. This is a kit that I put together that includes everything you need to get started painting your kitchen cabinets. It includes the original cabinet brush, mini roller, mini tray, sanding blocks, tape, plastic, and drop cloths, everything you need to get started. And right now I'm only selling it for $49.99. If you were to buy all of this separate, it's well over $75 worth of tools, but together we're doing it for $49.99, and it's just everything you need to get your cabinets painted by yourself and save as much money as possible. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and click on the link in the description below and check it out. It's at DIYpaintingsupply.com. And lastly, if you have any questions about painting your kitchen cabinets, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I'm on here all the time answering every question that I possibly can. So thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something, and hopefully now you have the information you need to decide on what route you plan on going with your kitchen cabinets. And until next time, good luck on your DIY painting project.